Have you ever been so tired that you can't even describe it? You go to bed at 7 o'clock or early and you wake up after 10, 12, 13 hours of sleep and you don't even feel like you rested at all. And it's not even a tired that you need to sleep. It's just a deep exhaustion. Are you soul tired? Let's hop into part 2 about burnout.
The goal here is to learn how to treat your mind and body like a professional athlete. Welcome to Mind Your Body. I'm Dr. Audra Lance. I'm a doctor of chiropractic who specializes in treating sports and non-surgical injuries. Anything that involves muscles and joints. I treat big-name celebrities and professional athletes. Most of my patients refer to me as the witch doctor because they can't explain any other way their pain was removed that quickly. I hate cooking, but I do love wine, and don't even think about giving me anything that involves ketchup because I will not eat it. Every episode of this show is designed to help you move better, live better, and feel better. Now let's go do this thing.
Welcome back, players. I never thought I would be doing a part 2 of this podcast about burnout, but the responses have been incredible. If you haven't listened to last week's, I was having one of those days and I recorded a podcast and it's been a hit. We are going to elaborate, get a little deeper. I'm going to share a little bit more with you, and obviously y'all are relating. So if you haven't listened to part 1, go back, listen to part 1. It's short. Come back here and we'll dive deeper in part 2. Burnout and feeling guilty about being burned out is something that's not talked about enough. It's almost like you kind of have this shadow or like, ew, you're burnout. Come on, how could you be burnout? You may be living the picture perfect lifestyle or something you always dreamed of. You have all these things that you never even thought you would have. Maybe it's the car, maybe it's the vacations, maybe it's the house, maybe it's the family, maybe it's the dog, whatever your thing is, purses, shoes, clothes, whatever, something that when you were young, you're like, when I reach blank age, this is what my life's going to look like. Or when I get to this point, I will be happy. And you get there and you're like, I'm happy, but my soul is so tired. It happens. And let me tell you, working with professional athletes, celebrities, high-powered CEOs, business owners, it happens to them too. We're human. Our bodies can only take so much. And then they start giving us the middle finger and breaking down. And that can be sickness, injuries. I see it all the time. People are like, I didn't even do anything and I hurt my back. Or why would I have plantar fasciitis? Like, I've never struggled with this in my life. It's your body. Our bodies are smart and they're telling you things and you need to listen or it's going to get worse and worse and it's going to force you to, unfortunately, in a bad way. And it's not when it's convenient for you, which that's what I like to do, is when it's convenient for me, I'll rest, I'll do the things. But then, of course, a great opportunity pops up and I can't miss it. Duh. And I'm sure this is you listening, or you wouldn't be listening or drawn to my podcast if we didn't have similar, I don't know. You know what I mean? Vibing. So I was talking to actually a celebrity client this week, and this kind of inspired part 2 of the podcast besides everyone messaging me. And they're a celebrity that flies in to see me. And they were just talking about they're having incredible success and it's amazing, but I just see so much of myself in them. And I was like, you are so drained. Like, you can't even be happy about all your success right now and everything that's happening. And they just looked at me and they're like, yeah. And I said, you're soul tired. And their eyes got wide and they're like, that's exactly what I am. I've never heard it described like that. And they had tears in their eyes because it was like the perfect description. And I'm like, I get it because I've been there before and I'm there again currently. And we got to figure this out. me experiencing all this, the other part of it is, as a patient, you would never know because I can cover it up that good and I show up and I'm in that room and somehow I have energy for that. And there's so many different steps. It's not just go to the spa for a day and relax. There's so many other things. And if you are wired to be ambitious and complete your goals and you want all these things and you love it, you're going to be driven to keep going. And we're just ambitious people. That's how we're wired. We just are going to do it and go after it. But that can leave you soul tired. So, as I said, I'm a little bit there, as you could tell last week. Not a little bit, I am. And life is so good. And I never dreamed, God, I don't want to get emotional. I would never dream that I would be here and doing all the things that I'm doing and able to help as many people as I'm helping. And it's amazing. Amazing. But I never say no. And I'm just tired. And I have access to renowned doctors. Some of them are even my patients. So I'm good. Like, I'm figuring this out. I'm in the process of it. This happened in 2021 for me. And I got out of it. And even till this day, I'm eating like the cleanest I've ever ate, drinking the least amount I've ever drank. Except we all got to have wine sometimes. Red wine, like, it's healthy, right? That's what the studies show. And even just like taking it easy. I'm not doing HIIT workouts every day. Like, I'm practicing what I preach. But I'm still like, got myself there. And it's 2021 happened. So I'll just give you guys a brief synopsis. I'm sure you don't want all the details. And if you do, DM me at Dr. Audra Lance. I'm happy to share whatever. If you guys want a whole podcast on every little thing that happened and every little step I took, I'm happy to do that. But right now I won't go through all that. I was getting all these weird symptoms of, like, my hands were tingling, but I work 12 to 13 hours a day on patients. That doesn't even include the other part of running a business. That's, the other hours in the day that make it 15-hour work days or weekends. Sundays, I work a lot. So once again, I freaking love my job. I'm addicted to it is essentially what it is. I'm addicted to work. And the more I work, it's a high I get, and I love it. And it's a feeling, it's not even about the money. It's about helping people. Like, the fact, if you volunteer, even if you have kids, you see someone's life change, and it's a feeling you can't describe. If you volunteer, like if you're in a job where you can see how much you're helping others or animals or whatever it is where you're giving in a service way, you can't stop. It becomes addicting just like anything else. So I started the hands tingling. I would be randomly dizzy, like I was going to pass out. And in my head, like, all doctors can't treat themselves, just FYI. And if you hear a doctor treating themselves, come on. We all need other doctors. We need coaches. We need a support system. Like, no one can do it alone, even though I've had that complex sometimes that I'm like, I know a lot. I'm really good at what I do. I can look and reflect and treat myself. You don't see the blind side of yourself. You can't see some of these areas of where you're like, oh, dang. Or, hey, maybe you are doing everything right, but your adrenals are still fucked. And even if you slow down, it hasn't fixed everything. You might need some more assistance. Dizziness, lightheadedness, almost like a vertigo, wanting to faint. My hands were tingling, and I could write off all these symptoms to things of, oh, I was fasting. That's why I was dehydrated because I didn't drink enough water when I worked. Oh my gosh, I worked on a couple like big athletes that day, and that's why my hands hurt. It was just excuse after excuse. And then I was gaining weight, and I'm like, why am I gaining weight? Like, I'm doing all the workouts. I'm eating good. Like, this just doesn't make sense to me. And then I got home from work and wanted to go to bed. I don't care if it was 6 o'clock. I don't care if it was 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. And then I would wake up in the middle of the night around 2 a.m. I don't sleep. And then in the morning, like, I get up early. I wake up early before my alarm naturally, always have. I'm a morning person, but like I still didn't want to get out of bed. It took everything I had to get out of bed. Like most people probably wouldn't have gotten out of bed, but I'm so freaking stubborn sometimes. Don't tell my husband I ever admitted that I didn't get out of bed. And then I would have to have multiple cups of coffee to keep going throughout the day. So of course, go to these renowned doctors, have a team. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, do I have diabetes? Do I have cancer? There has to be a tumor somewhere. I mean, these are the things that even doctors jump to because sometimes knowing too much is scary too. We did all this blood work. We did colonoscopy. We did endoscopy. We did everything. And it became the mystery illness. Oh, you just have this mystery thing, but you're fine. It's not cancer. Like, and of course, a lot of people wanted to keep digging. So, we went one direction and I was able to feel really good. And for a couple of years, and what is it, 2023, I'm slipping back into some of that of I'm so tired. Like I get such a high at work. I love, but I'm not bringing my best self home to my husband and friends. Everything I have right now is going to work. And I hate to admit that. So, but here I am. And I'm telling y'all, I have a team, I have access, and it's amazing to world-renowned doctors. I have support. I'm not dying, but I just know so many of you can relate to this. I've seen it in a ton of my patients. And it's like, you almost feel bad admitting it. Like, oh, I am strong and I got this. But here I am. I am just tired. And it's so much more than tired. And it's crazy. Like if you've ever, with my team, I have like both Chinese, like Eastern medicine. And then of course I have both my doctors treating me. And then on top of that, an ND, an MD, like both of them, like everyone's working together and a hormone nurse practitioner, and everyone's talking and we're all talking and everyone's putting together their expertise. And like my Dutch test came back, which is actually a hormone panel, if you didn't know. And it runs, you take test samples throughout your day just to check out all your different hormones, how your cortisol is functioning. My cortisol is super low and tanking. I have no testosterone, and it checks like testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, and just so many how they like the different kinds of estrogen metabolism. It's looking at that, and my one's really high and my one's really low. Like all the symptoms are coming together. And then my blood work, all that is fitting for all the symptoms I'm feeling. So it's kind of relieving, like, okay, this time I'm not crazy. The blood work's fitting it. Last time the blood work really didn't fit it. They were kind of like, you look good. This is weird. And then I went without even telling, the doctors in my practice that work for me could tell. They're like, uh-oh, here you go. So they've been working on me with the stuff that we do for people in this situation. And then I was like, okay, I need to force myself to not look at my phone for 2 hours. I don't look at it with patients, but we're all freaking addicted to our phones too. So I went to acupuncture, and the guy, I didn't tell him what was going on because that's who I am. I like a challenge because I like when people challenge me a little bit like that. And when I'm right, it's awesome. So listen, if you've never had acupuncture, they listen to your, test your pulses and look at your tongue. This guy did. You can also look at your hands. There's many other ways that they can look at a full picture of your body. He felt my pulses. He goes, oh, you're in fight or flight. And he goes, I'm just silent. Didn't even make a face. And you are so depleted. And he goes, you're in burnout. And I'd already had my blood results. And I just kind of was like, huh. And he just kept going, you are so depleted. So we did some of the needles. My adrenal points hurt really bad. And I laid there. We did my back and then my front. He did an intensive. And it ended up being 2 hours, I think I was laying there, which I think I fell asleep for 45 minutes, and that was awesome. But then I was going nuts laying there because I'm not still. I don't know if you're like this at all, but I want to accomplish something. I want to check it off my list. I want to feel that dopamine hit of you did it. But it was good to force me to do that. And he was like, listen, you only need to come every 2 months. He's like, I know you got this under control. So we got that on board with everything else I'm doing because it takes a village. But I will keep you updated of everything that's going on. But I'm going to be fine. Things are good. But If you're feeling like this, know you're not alone. The celebrities, the professional athletes I've dealt with, we've all had this. And luckily, I think I'm going through this multiple times so that I can continue to help my patients that are at this high level, whatever their job may be. But I've had people who don't even think that they're go-getters and stuff. And they're like, why am I like this? We can all do it.
Here's what it ultimately boils down to, the burnout stuff. For me, celebrities, athletes, CEOs, just people wired to keep going, even when they know they need to figure this out. We are so terrified of losing it all. We are scared of losing everything we built, all that we sacrificed, all the time, everything. We know it could all just fall away in a moment. And in our heads, we tell ourselves stories that I could wake up tomorrow and everyone will leave me. That's what it is.
If you're feeling like this, please ask for help. Surround yourself with a team. We do online virtual consults, and that can include us helping you put together a game plan, but also can help include, we put together teams of people. Like if you're not in Nashville, that if you need to go see for things, please, you can check that out at spinesportrehabilitation.com. And if you need something to start out with, just breathe. Just breathe and know you're not alone and you're going to be okay. And your soul is tired, but you're going to get back to loving life, feeling that joy, feeling that energy, and being able to enjoy the moment. You got this.
Now, if you want to do something really special for me and got a lot out of this episode, go leave a 5-star written review of the show on Apple Podcast. And if you're a Spotify listener, just tap the 5 stars. To submit any of your health questions to the show, simply DM me on Instagram at Dr. Audra Lance. And don't worry, all your questions will be kept strictly anonymous. So send me all your embarrassing questions. And don't forget, breathe into your butthole. Toodaloo!